I call it sacred depletion. I feel like we get to points in our lives. I went through a sacred depletion last year where you just feel so empty, you start experiencing symptoms of fatigue. Sacred depletion, it's your soul is trying to wake you up to something needs to change. Symptoms turn into diseases unless we pivot and change things in our lives. And protein is the backbone of our existence. It's the backbone of the structure of the cell. It's the backbone of mitochondrial functioning, getting enough lysine and methionine, which is found in higher amounts of animal-based proteins. Sacred depletion I was just listening to a video this morning, our cancer rates are now higher or about to surpass heart disease rates. And it's very fascinating how much mitochondria has to do with growth of tumor cells. And so, or cancer cells rather, all involved with the mitochondria. That's carrying their own course of light, they're carrying their own DNA. Mitochondria can influence the nuclear DNA. So over the course of the last few decades in Western medicine, we've always looked to the nucleus as the place of your genetic predisposition. So let's say in your family you have cancer that runs in, you have diabetes that runs in. Now we know that our environment influences this way more than just your genetic predispositions. So my environment, whether I'm waking up and going into the sunlight in the morning, is going to influence my cancer risk. Whether I'm exercising, influencing my cancer risk. Whether I'm getting enough protein, zinc, creatine, taurine, all of these amino and fatty acids that we're always talking about, this influences your cancer risk more than anything else. Your family's history is not your history. It's your habits that are going to lead your biochemistry. And it's so beautiful. It's so simple if you really think about that. A lot of people think like, I call it, it's the sacred depletion. Sorry, I'm getting my stuff here. The muscular system, this is like our number one protector of our longevity and our optimal health in our life. Our muscle is considered the largest endocrine organ on the body. If you don't know what the endocrine system is, it's our hormone system. So our hormones is what drives, let's say, cancer progression, right? It's what drives an Alzheimer's disease. It's what drives any neurological disease that we could be facing in the body, right? Inflammation, systemic inflammation, everything. Our immune function, anything that you could be struggling with, you lost your cycle as a woman, right here. It's the muscular system. And what are you eating on a daily basis? We know that when we eat higher amounts of animal-based proteins, we're getting creatine, which is so healthy for the brain. And it's just beautiful. It's amazing. Like, your body is so beautiful and it's willing and waiting to take care of you. If you're struggling with inflammation or insulin resistance, Dr. Rhonda Patrick talks about how when we stay up late and we get one short night of sleep can predispose us to pre-diabetic levels in the body. What this means is our sugar levels are higher, our insulin levels are higher, our hunger hormone is higher. So we're driven towards high caloric foods with just one short night of sleep. But you can cut that through getting a high dose of creatine or a high amount of animal-based protein. So if you're struggling, start your day off strong with those amino and fatty acids, and then help this cascade go forward. How do you help this cascade go forward? You go out into the sunlight, you go for exercise, you just even stretch out your hamstrings, your muscles, your calf muscles. The body responds to all of this. And very quickly, like that, biochemistry is like that. The whole thing with the brainwave states and our hormones is like every time you either speed up or slow your respiratory rate down, which you can just do simply, like right now, if you were to relax and say like, I'm going to breathe slower, I'm changing my entire state of consciousness. I'm changing my hormones. So you're a biochemist. You can do this with like the drop of a hat. You just drop it like right there. Everything changes. When you go into the sunlight, it's like if someone were to walk into your room at 2 a.m. and flick on the light, it would be like you'd wake up and you'd be like, what is going on, you know? When you're put into your natural environment, your body goes back towards nature. And that quote that I read the other day, such a beautiful quote, and I just found it when I was cleaning up my room. No single group or system owns inner peace, as it belongs to the Human spirit by virtue of our origin. And underneath I have the kingdom of heaven was within. I think if Jesus had a microscope, he would constantly be talking about mitochondria, the light, the kingdom within, the mitochondria. Without our mitochondria functioning, our energy levels are so low. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. With good reason, it's producing a majority of our energy all the time. There's so many mitochondria. If you go to these other dense organ centers like the liver, kidneys, heart, brain, the mitochondrial load is so much higher. That's why our mental health rates are so high, because we're severely malnourished. And it's like, how do I get out of this cycle of sacred depletion? Every single morning you are getting out of the sacred depletion. Sacred depletion is a feeling of emptiness, of a lack of purpose. It's, I'm gaining weight and I'm losing muscle and I just feel tired and out of place. I feel awake at night. I can't sleep. I have insomnia. This is sacred depletion. And how do you go back to feeling in line, in harmony with yourself, like you have a purpose, like you're here for a reason, you're connected to the larger whole? Go towards the light, your mitochondria. Feed them what they need. What else I wanted to say? Oh, about this quote. No single group or system owns inner peace as it belongs to the human spirit by virtue of our origin. One of the best books I ever read, that I love reading books that help me understand why is mitochondria powerhouse of the cell. Don't just tell me that. Please just show me, teach me. I want to get to the basic foundation. One of the best books I ever read about the origin of the cell. So this, okay, it's Oxygen by Nick Lane. He also has another incredible book, Power, Sex, and Suicide. It's all about the mitochondria. He's a, I think he's a biochemist by trade. I think he teaches at a college in London, but he studies the history of the cell, the history of biochemistry. How did humans come to be on the earth? So this is a multicellular organism. Multicellular, meaning that mitochondria, we predict, if we go back in his book, he talks about single cell organism is bacteria. That's why we eat our food, to get healthy amounts of bacteria. In our gut microbiome, we have tons of bacteria. All over the body, there's tons of bacteria. These are single cell organisms. So they're very focused on reproduction, sex. Bacteria has reproduction, sex, and food. That's basically it. They need food to feed themselves to survive, and then they need to reproduce. That's really all that they're concerned about. Single cell, very primitive in thought, right? Sort of like a toddler. If you go to a toddler, they just want food and to feel safe. That's all. Like the reptilian brain, right? As we get older, also to Alzheimer's, dementia patients, same thing. Basic survival needs, right? I'm get very, very irritated if I don't get what I want. I don't have logical reasoning to slow down and be like, to think into the future, right? You tell a toddler no to getting that candy at the store and they're throwing a fit in the middle of the aisle. Is that sane? Like if older adults acted like that, we put them in mental institutions. You're gonna throw a fit in the middle of the floor. You're too old for this, right? But toddlers, they don't have the development of the brain. They don't have that development of the frontal cortex, to think into the future and be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have this candy bar, or blah, 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 So multicellular organs, we then turned into multicellular organisms where the cell started working more with the environment. Mitochondria hopped into a single cell organism, allegedly. I might be all wrong about this, so please forgive me. I just find it very fascinating and very passionate about that. Mitochondria hopped into a bacterial cell and said, hey, I'm actually going to handle your oxygen levels more for you so you can produce more energy in the cell. And this is how eventually, multicellular organisms came to be. Now trillions and trillions of cells, trillions upon quadrillions of mitochondria are filled in our body, and then we happen to have us. I just think it's incredible. It's beautiful. So that book was Oxygen by Nick Lane. I believe he even went to talk about, he talked about prehistoric Earth, which is really cool. Like, if you're fascinated with ice ages and how the Earth has gone through, lots and lots of changes, like climate change. has always been a thing. Like the climate has always been changing. Like today it's rainy outside, right? It's cold. We're going through cycles. The earth is cyclical. Like nothing stays the same, everything changes. That's like the only law of earth is energy is neither created nor destroyed. So you put the amino acids in your body and then it becomes you. That's why I tell people, I'm like, whenever I make them food, like I've given people like ground beef patties, I'm like, you don't know how much this means to me, like to be giving you this and for it to become your body and to know what this has done for me. Like it means so much to me to give this to you, and it almost makes me want to cry, to be honest. So just remember that when you eat, food is fuel. It's not, you can eat for pleasure too. You can work hard and play hard, enjoyment. Alan Watts says, like, we're meant to enjoy things in life. Like, what's the point of being on earth if you're not enjoying it? Anxiety is not going to get you to any place faster. No amount of anxiety is going to get you to where you're going in a faster amount of time. But everything is always changing, and the biochemistry, especially if you're a woman in your cycle, like Dr. Mindy Peltz is a great resource. We're very different from men in terms of biochemistry. There are times in our monthly cycle where our insulin levels and our glucose levels want to be higher, and then there are times where our insulin levels want to be lower. So that's also important when you're thinking about food, when you're thinking about how you're working out and what type of rest you need to get. Sometimes we do need more rest at certain points of our cycle. So don't treat your body like you're a man because you're a woman and you have a beautiful, beautiful cycle that if you work with it, you actually feel stronger and sharper, and your body, like your hormones won't work against you if you honor them and work with them. Like having a period, having a cycle is like a superpower. That's how I feel when I started to really understand my own cycle. So anyway, if this video is helpful for you, you can like, share, and subscribe. Send it to someone you know who's struggling with fatigue or any type of mental illness. Send it to your parents and your grandparents who are losing muscle. As we age, we lose muscle at a very fast rate. We go towards a state of disease faster when we get older, or states of depression, mental illness. So be kind and gentle always to your parents and your grandparents. I read this quote the other day. It was like, be kind to your parents. It's their first time living too. And that's so true. Sometimes we think that because someone's older that they should know more, and that they, it's like, it's just everybody's first time on earth. So just be nice. Anyway, I'm going to go. You can like, share, and subscribe. But as always, I do wish you the best of luck.